With Muammar Gaddafi assassinated by his captors, NATO has declared its operation in Libya a success. But what was the justification for NATO's intervention in the first place? This is the Global Research Backgrounder on GRTV.ca. Welcome. This is James Corbett of the Corbett Report for Global Research TV at GRTV.ca. The killing of Muammar Gaddafi at the hands of NATO-backed, al-Qaeda-linked forces marks the end of a campaign expressly aimed at the assassination of a head of state and overthrow of a sovereign country, in direct violation of international standards that have held sway since the Nuremberg trials at the end of World War II and the establishment of the Geneva Conventions. The NATO campaign, known as Operation Unified Protector, was a continuation of the US-led Operation Odyssey Dawn. It formally began on March 23, 2011, and was ostensibly an operation to enforce United Nations Security Council Resolution 1973. From the outset, the NATO coalition partners insisted that the aim of the mission was not to assist a rebel insurgency in overthrowing the Gaddafi government, but to protect civilians in accordance with UN resolutions.
But broadening our military mission to include regime change would be a mistake. The task that I assigned our forces, to protect the Libyan people from immediate danger and to establish a no-fly zone, carries with it a UN mandate and international support. It's also what the Libyan opposition asked us to do. If we tried to overthrow Gaddafi by force, our coalition would splinter.
The real intention of the operation was revealed shortly thereafter, however, in a joint op-ed in the pages of the International Herald Tribune penned by Obama, Cameron, and Sarkozy. Our duty and our mandate under UN Security Council Resolution 1973 is to protect civilians, and we are doing that. It is not to remove Gaddafi by force, they wrote in their editorial. But it is impossible to imagine a future for Libya with Gaddafi in power. It is unthinkable that someone who has tried to massacre his own people can play a part in their future government. Within a month, the true aim of the intervention to assassinate Gaddafi was confirmed when NATO forces bombed the personal residence of Saif al-Arab Gaddafi, Muammar's youngest son, in an admitted attempt to kill the Libyan leader himself. While Gaddafi himself was not caught in the strike, his son and 3 of his grandchildren were killed in the bombing. Now it is confirmed that the strike that resulted in the death of Gaddafi was initiated, organized, coordinated, and led by NATO and SAS forces. The attack began when Gaddafi was fleeing Sirte in a convoy of 75 vehicles. Drone pilots at Creech Air Force Base in Nevada launched a round of Hellfire missiles from a Predator drone aircraft, destroying the lead vehicle and prompting a French bomber to release 2 laser-guided 500-pound bombs into the center of the convoy. British SAS troops, meanwhile, coordinated the ground forces that eventually captured Gaddafi. The news of Gaddafi's death was greeted with elation by NATO leaders around the world and echoed by pundits and talking heads of every political persuasion.
It cost us $1 trillion to get Saddam and $1 billion to get Gaddafi.
Well, Libya says they're going to pay back the $1 billion that we spent, too. So it's going to end up being sort of free for nothing.
So let's get in on the ground. There's a lot of money to be made in the future in Libya. There's a lot of oil to be produced.
Boy, I tell you, these Arab dictators, they're not very original. Just like Saddam Hussein caught him in a hole.
Muammar Gaddafi was a bad guy.
The ostensible justification for the entire campaign, however, the charge that Gaddafi was engaged in a massacre of his own people, has since been shown to be based on falsehoods, misrepresentations, and undocumented allegations. The process that launched the intervention was begun by a coalition of 70 non-governmental organizations, which issued a joint letter urging the